The trailer doors close. No cameras, no fans, just 4 NASCAR officials, a torque wrench, and a car that had just finished on a Sunday night. Nobody says a word, but everyone standing in that room understands exactly what happens next, can undo an entire season. It's a Cup Series car. It finished inside the top 5. It's the number 11. It's Denny Hamlin. This isn't a backmarker's car pulled aside for a routine glance. This is the current points leader of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series, sent directly to the one facility every team in the garage quietly hopes to avoid, the NASCAR Research and Development Center in Concord, North Carolina. Inside the sport, that single phrase, R&D Center, carries weight far beyond a normal post-race check. It's treated as a loaded term, one that has decided championship runs before it's even finished being spoken. Before going further, if you're new here, this is NASCAR Racing World, and we're closing in on 500 subscribers. If breakdowns like this are the kind of racing coverage you want more of, subscribing costs nothing and helps this channel keep producing stories like this one, built directly from verified reporting. Your support is the reason this kind of detailed coverage keeps coming out every week, so if you value that, this is the moment to hit that button. Here's why a trip to the R&D Center carries so much more weight than a standard garage inspection. In the next-gen era, post-race inspection has become sharper and considerably less forgiving than in previous years. Margins that once slipped through unnoticed now get magnified under far more precise scrutiny. A tenth of a second gained on track during a race can, within a matter of days, turn into a 5-figure fine, or in more serious cases, a triple-digit points penalty by the middle of the following week. NASCAR has, in past seasons, stripped teams of well over 100 points after findings uncovered at the R&D Center. That history is exactly why a car being sent there is treated as a far more serious matter than a routine check performed in the garage immediately after a race. This situation unfolds in the middle of what may be Denny Hamlin's most dominant points-leading season of his career, as he continues chasing the one achievement that has consistently eluded him throughout his time in the sport, a NASCAR Cup Series championship. Every inspection carries added weight during a season like this one, because the margin for error at the top of the standings is considerably thinner than it appears from outside the garage. A driver leading the points is watched more closely than any other car on the grid, and any finding at this stage of the season would draw far more attention than the same result earlier in the year. The car in question had just come off a strong run at Chicagoland Speedway. Chase Briscoe won the race, his first Cup Series victory of the 2026 season, his first career win at Chicagoland, and the 6th win of his career overall. Christopher Bell finished in 2nd place. Denny Hamlin crossed the finish line 3rd, after William Byron had already claimed both stage wins earlier in the race. On paper, it was another strong weekend for the number 11 team, continuing a stretch of consistent finishes near the front of the field. Then came the follow-up announcement. NASCAR was sending Hamlin's car to the R&D Center for a complete teardown and technical inspection. NASCAR insider Matt Weaver posted on X, confirming that inspection had already wrapped up inside the Cup Series garage itself, with no issues found at that stage. But that update did not mean the story was finished. The deeper technical review, the one that actually determines fines and points penalties in cases like this, was still ahead. Taking a car to the R&D Center does not automatically confirm something is wrong with it, but it does raise the odds of a penalty considerably, based on how NASCAR has ruled in comparable cases in past seasons under this same inspection system. And this time, Hamlin wasn't traveling to Concord alone. Alex Bowman's number 48 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet was sent to the R&D Center in that same round of teardown, meaning the spotlight that week wasn't limited to Hamlin's team alone. 2 prominent cars from 2 different organizations were undergoing the same level of scrutiny at the same time, which meant 2 teams were waiting on the same outcome. The rest of that weekend at Chicagoland had already been unforgiving before either car even reached Concord. Kyle Larson failed pre-race inspection twice before finally passing on a 3rd attempt, a detail that added to the sense that NASCAR was enforcing its rulebook with very little patience for anything close to a violation. NASCAR also ejected a crew chief from the event entirely and stripped a pit selection after a wheel came loose during a pit stop. Every part of that weekend, from pre-race inspection through the pit lane incidents, pointed toward a sanctioning body, applying its standards with unusual strictness across the board, not just toward one team, but across the full field. This raises a broader question that extends beyond any single car or driver. Is this the moment the sport's most polarizing driver finally gets caught by a system built to catch smaller and smaller margins? Or is this the moment that proves he remains clean at the exact level where everyone is watching hardest? Supporters of Hamlin have described these inspections as routine procedure, arguing that a trip to the R&D center doesn't automatically imply guilt. Critics, on the other hand, have been ready to react the moment his name enters any conversation involving the rulebook, given his standing at the top of the points and his history of close calls with officials throughout his career. Then came the update. Everyone with a stake in the standings had been refreshing their feeds for. Bob Pockrass of Fox Sports posted on X, "No penalties for intentional wrecking from Chicagoland, and the Hamlin and Bowman cars all good at R&D. Only penalty is 2 race suspensions to 2 Clements pit crew members for wheel coming off. Both cars, Hamlin's number 11 and Bowman's number 48, returned from the R&D center clean. No fines were issued, no points penalties were applied, no wrongdoing was found on either car after the full teardown process. The only penalty that came out of that entire round of scrutiny landed on 2 crew members from the Clements pit crew, who received 2 race suspensions over the wheel that came loose during the event. But clean at the R&D center doesn't mean this story is over. In this sport, one clean inspection resets the clock rather than stopping it entirely. The next race brings a new inspection, and the standard for passing it does not get any easier to meet, regardless of how a team performed the week before. Heading into Echo Park Speedway, Hamlin now sits atop the point standings with a 44-point cushion over Tyler Reddick, with 7 races remaining in the NASCAR Cup Series regular season. That lead buys him some breathing room in the standings, but it does not buy him any distance from the inspection process itself. Every car that finishes near the front of a race becomes a candidate for the same trip to Concord the very next weekend, regardless of where that team sits in the points. Because in NASCAR's inspection era, clean today means nothing about tomorrow. The next trailer door is always 1 race away. So here's a question worth sitting with. Has NASCAR's inspection process become too aggressive under the next-gen rulebook, or is this exactly the level of accountability the sport needs applied to the team leading the standings? Drop your answer in the comments below. I want to hear where you land on this one. If you're not subscribed yet, NASCAR Racing World is closing in on 500 subscribers, and every subscription helps this channel keep producing breakdowns like this one, built directly from verified source reporting without any unnecessary filler added in. Like this video if you want more stories covered this way. Leave your take in the comments and share it with another NASCAR fan who'd want to see exactly how close this one actually got. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.